add that extra level of diligence into your procurement and supply chain practice, you might be surprised with what you get.
So it's such an exciting time for us in thinking through how that works and being able to connect enterprises with small and diverse businesses. It really is a true time for innovation.
Thank you, everyone. This is Dave Cravens from Raindrop, and today I'm your host for episode 7 of the Raindrop Think Tank series. So with me is Tracy Grace, who is the president and CEO of IBEX, who are the innovators of Certifiably Diverse, and also our co-founder of Raindrop, Ward Carson, is here with me today. So today's topic is going to be around innovation and strategy in supply chain. And I think we can all agree that this is a kind of a challenging time for industries of all sizes and companies from all different types of marketplaces and verticals and geographies. And so I'm going to start with you, Tracy. If you can kind of give me your thoughts on, some things that companies can do to kind of get ahead of the curve in this area.
Well, thank you so much, David, for having me here today. It's so exciting and just really, really thrilled to be able to partner with Raindrop on really supply chain opportunities. So, it's interesting, but during COVID, I think things changed a little bit. A lot of solopreneurs were born, a lot of small businesses decided to go back to the drawing board and innovate, and it really changed the landscape of business overall. There was so much innovation occurring behind the scenes, and as these companies and solopreneurs started innovating, they found that there are opportunities. And so now you have a lot of small businesses. Some are diverse, some are women-owned, veteran-owned, disability-owned, and large companies are starting to recognize that these small businesses and these diverse businesses bring with them innovation. So we're excited at Certifiably Diverse. Our platform was specifically designed to work along with these innovative companies so that they can be discovered by enterprises and be able to be utilized for solutioning within the enterprise, within the larger enterprises. So it's an exciting time, but we're thinking creatively, just like everyone else, and really giving a platform to some of these businesses who might not be noticed otherwise.
Tracy, this is a critical piece of how do I grow my supply chain? How do I lend more value to my supply chain? How do I develop and be more to my company? I think everybody knows that, no resource pretty much in any company has unlimited or infinite political capital, political currency, call it what you will. But I think if we actually focus on, you talked about COVID-19, COVID economy, COVID shutdowns, labor constraints, shortages, long lead times, the drill. What you haven't seen, or at least you hear too much noise about, right, is these smaller companies, and we could talk about diverse, really means something different to everybody, right? Diverse could mean I want to work with women-owned companies, veteran-owned companies, small companies, and you define what that means to you. You may have as a company a commitment to say, I'm going to spend X number of dollars a year with diverse companies, and how you go ahead and fulfill that is obviously up to you as a company. But I want to make sure that we talk about and the reality that, hey, as I had to face all these challenges, I'm able to go find companies, you call them solopreneurs, right? Or let's call them even smaller companies that focus on filling those gaps, and they could do it well. And if you think about all of the, not enterprise, hey, I'm UPS. I used to have 2 million, 20 million manual scans of putting boxes into my trucks every year. Well, guess what? They just bought a bunch of RFIDs. Now that's automated a year and a half ago. So I don't have to do that. We're not talking about levels like that. I'm talking about you have a bunch of medium-sized companies, small companies all over the world that could use the leverage of the success and the capabilities, the experience, the relationships that smaller businesses bring. Now, are those businesses minority? Are they women? Are they veteran? Are they whatever the case may be? And I think that companies start to realize, I'm going to set some dollars aside and I'm going to go and fulfill based on those capabilities. And now I just met my goal because I said I was going to invest in small business. I am. But guess what? Now I actually see the real value. I'm starting to realize and recognize that value. Now I'm actually going to expand that, not because I have some mandate in my company that says I have to spend money, but because I actually gain real value. And it's different than the, hey, I'm trying to solve UPS's, logistics issues. There's a million companies out there that are, maybe I'm $100 million company, maybe I'm a $500 million company, and I can't afford to do business, and I have different business problems than these giant enterprises. So there may be where these solopreneurs have a much broader opportunity, and these companies should be looking at them to help solve their business needs.
Most definitely. I agree. Just earlier this week, I was chatting with a colleague of mine, and he actually has a packaging company, but it goes beyond that. It's innovative packaging to help reduce destruction of goods. And so he promotes himself and does a lot of customized packaging solutions. And people like UPS, but then you also have product companies who are bringing him in, because that's innovation that does not need to occur internally. They don't need to hire these specialty box innovators internally. They can just partner with a smaller business who just happens to be a minority business owner, but is extremely experienced and talented at crushing packaging the right way in order to make sure it gets there. So you just never know where the innovation is going to occur. But what I typically find is that it's hard to match the businesses up with the smaller or the diverse businesses that may have the innovation. So by having this platform that allows you to do searching to find, based on keywords or based on NAICS codes or just based on questions, how to find some of that innovative technology is really key. And then, all of this combined with looking at where the economy is right now, what is needed, what is going on with artificial intelligence, what is bringing the organizations together, and using some of those tools really then bolsters it and really amplifies things.
Yeah, I think it's where, necessity is the mother of invention. I think we've all heard since childhood. And so when you're dealing with like kind of larger, let's say more bureaucratic kind of institutions where it's like, hey, this is the way we've always done things. And, moving an aircraft carrier around as opposed to, a speedboat. And so, being able to deal with, companies that are more nimble, agile, and helping them to let loose their creative energies, it always sounds like a good idea to me. And it
definitely.
I was going to say real quickly, there was we're moving to battery powered vehicles. You could look at it from the super cool Tesla Semi, right? That's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I can't wait to see it on the road. And then alternative fuels. All these different things are supporting an economic, moving a product, getting a product from point A to point B to help get the economy going. I'll tell you, Tracy, whenever I see anything out there in the world, and I'm talking from billboard advertisements to cars on the road to the food at the grocery store, or when you sit down at your house, someone bought that plate, someone had to manufacture, someone had to negotiate a contract for it. And that contract negotiation to me is really pretty cool. Now, who did that? Who they negotiate with? Who added the value to get them to that point? And who helped design the batteries for that truck, right? So there's all different types of ways you could look at. I could get unique and inventive in how I go ahead and invest my business interests, my company, my resources to go ahead and see and take that. I guess my guidance to the supply chain and procurement folks out there who might be watching this is take that extra level of effort with your team to go look a little bit deeper, dive a little bit more. Don't just stay on the first page. Go find that fourth or fifth page. Find out who's able to help you do and support your business to help it grow, who might be not able to get that front page search result, who may not be able to be the most glossy thing that there is, or you may not know them. So I would just say, add that extra level of diligence into your procurement and supply chain practice. You might be surprised with what you get. IBEX is a great way to go find this information. Sorry for the shameless plug, but for the folks out there, go ahead and take a look.
And Ward, thanks for that. I did want to mention, I just got back before we're talking today, there was a great at the Curiosity Labs over in Norcross, right? You may have heard of them in Peachtree Corners. Siemens had an event and it was talking with the GMSDC, talking about the electronic vehicles and what the challenges are. So interesting, because so much money is rolling down from the federal government, they consider it to be the next real revolution within the United States and the next greatest opportunity that we really need to all take advantage of. But the challenge is no one really knows exactly how to do it right. And so it's prime territory for innovation right now. It's an opportunity for smaller businesses to take those little nuggets and those little problems and try and innovate. Things like the federal government is making it mandatory where there needs to be uptime of greater than, I think, 95% for the electronic vehicle plugins. That's a challenge right now. I don't know if either of you have an electronic vehicle, but I was in Savannah a couple of weeks ago and my daughter rented a Tesla and she tried to go to an EV station because she doesn't typically have one. It wouldn't plug in and it didn't work. Both of those things. So there are challenges that Siemens very open about, that there's not enough charging stations. If we want to drive from Atlanta over to, say, Tybee Island or to Jekyll Island, you're going to have to stop a couple of times to charge. And are there really charging stations along the way where you'll have the confidence that you can get there? So we're seeing so much opportunity because of electronic vehicles. And they're building the Kia plant over there near Pooler. And then there's some other plants. And Atlanta is really the hotbed right now for electronic vehicles. There's all kinds of opportunities over in Savannah too, because of the port being the largest port in the Western hemisphere for the cargo containers and all of that. So there is so much business going on and so much innovation. I truly believe in order for enterprises to seize it, they're going to be forced to partner with smaller businesses who can kind of get in there, innovate, find some of the solutioning and bring it back to the enterprises. So it's such an exciting time for us and thinking through how that works and being able to connect enterprises with small and diverse businesses. It really is a true time for innovation.
100% agree with that. Those are great examples.
Well, excellent. I really do appreciate, Tracy, your time, and Ward, I appreciate your time. And I think this was a good, lively discussion. And hopefully our listeners are going to be able to get some good nuggets of wisdom from us. And we do appreciate it.
Tracy, it's great to see you.
You too, Warren. And thank you so much, David. You guys have a wonderful afternoon.
You too.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Tracy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.